We were on a break, so I did nothing wrong. You were supposed to respect my process. My fiancée said after publicly flaunting her ex online. Then she came back demanding I act like nothing happened. I'm Sebastian, 31, a civil engineer. Until 3 months ago, I believed my life was perfectly planned. I had a stable job at a major construction company, an apartment in a good neighborhood, and I was about to marry who I thought was the love of my life. Now I realize I was living in a carefully constructed illusion by someone who never valued me. The night everything exploded was a Friday in April. I came home early, eager to see Camila after a particularly tough week on the construction site. We had been together for 5 years, engaged for 8 months. The wedding was scheduled for December. We had already paid the deposit for the venue, sent the invitations to be printed, and my mother had started organizing the details with hers. Camila was sitting on the sofa when I entered, looking at her phone with an expression I couldn't interpret. She didn't look up when I greeted her. She didn't smile. She just kept staring at the screen as if I were invisible. "We need to talk," she finally said. Without taking her eyes off her phone, my stomach clenched. Those 4 words never announce anything good. I sat across from her, my hands sweating, preparing myself for whatever it was. "I need a break," she blurted out abruptly, putting her phone in her bag. "A break," I repeated, confused. "What are you talking about?" "About us, about this relationship. I need space to think." "Think about what?" "The wedding is in 8 months, Camila. We've already invested money, time, we've made plans." "Exactly why. I need this break." She interrupted me, her voice taking on a defensive tone. "Everything is moving too fast. I need to be sure this is what I want." I felt like I'd been thrown cold water on. After 5 years together. Now you're not sure. Things change, Sebastian. People change. I just need time to clear my head. "How much time?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. "I don't know. A few weeks, maybe a month, and I'm supposed to just wait while you decide if you still want to marry me." Camila shrugged as if my pain were a minor inconvenience. "I need you to respect my process, Sebastian. Don't make it harder than it already is." At that moment, I should have seen the signs. I should have noticed there were no tears in her eyes. There was no hesitation in her voice. She wasn't fighting this decision. She had already made it, but I was too stunned to process all that. "Is there someone else?" I asked, although I already knew it was a stupid question. No one asks for a break if there isn't someone else on the horizon. "Don't be ridiculous," she replied too quickly, too defensively. "I just need space." Is that so hard to understand? That night, Camila packed a suitcase and went to stay with her best friend Daniela. I stayed in our apartment surrounded by photos of us, wondering where it had all gone wrong. The first few days after the break were hell. Camila didn't answer my messages. My calls went straight to voicemail. When she finally replied, 3 days later, it was with a cold, curt message. "Sebastian, the point of the break is to have space. Please respect that." So I stopped trying. If she wanted space, she would have all the space in the world. A week after the break, my younger brother, Diego, called me upset. "Bro, you need to see this," he said without even saying hello. "See? Camila's Instagram just posted something." My heart raced as I opened the app with trembling hands. There it was, the proof of what I already suspected but didn't want to accept. Camila had posted a photo at an elegant restaurant. She wasn't alone. Next to her, with his arm around her waist, was Andres, her ex-boyfriend. The same Andres she had assured me for years was just a friend. The same Andres who always showed up at casual moments when we went out. The same Andres she insisted I should learn to tolerate because he was part of her past. The photo's caption read, "Reconnecting with old friends. Sometimes the universe gives you back what you need at the exact moment." I felt like I had been punched in the stomach. Diego was still talking on the phone, but I wasn't hearing anything. I could only look at that photo, his arm around her, the bright smile on her face, happier than I had seen her in months. The comments under the photo were even worse. "What a cute couple. I knew you'd get back together eventually. True love always finds its way back." And then I saw the comment from Daniela, her supposed best friend, who had assured me she just needed time for herself. "About time. Happy for you, friend. You deserve to be happy." Then I understood everything. The break wasn't a think. It was an alibi, a convenient way to be with Andres without technically cheating on me, a way to keep me as a backup plan while she explored if her ex still wanted her. I didn't sleep that night. I stayed awake staring at the ceiling, processing the betrayal. Not just from Camila, but from everyone in her circle, everyone who knew what was happening and chose to remain silent. The next morning, as I was drinking coffee trying to function on 2 hours of sleep, I received a message from my mother. Son, is what I'm seeing on social media true? Camila is with another man. Great. Now my own family was seeing my public humiliation. For the next 2 weeks, Camila continued to post photos with Andres, romantic dinners, walks in the park, a weekend getaway to the beach. Each post was a knife in my back, but strangely, it was also liberating. Each image showed me more clearly who the woman I almost married really was. My friends started sending me messages of support. Some suggested I confront her. Others said I should post my own version of the story. But I did nothing. I just watched, waited, and planned. Because if there was one thing my job as an engineer had taught me, it was the importance of having a solid plan before executing any action. And I was building the perfect plan. 3 weeks after the start of the break, I started to notice a pattern in Camila's posts. The photos with Andres became less frequent. The excited comments from her friends started to decrease, and then, one Sunday night, I saw something interesting. Andres posted a photo in a bar with other friends. Among them was a blonde woman I didn't recognize, but who clearly knew Andres very well, considering how she was practically sitting on his lap. The caption read, "Some things never change, good times with good people." Camila was not tagged in the photo. In fact, she didn't appear anywhere in the image. Interesting. The next day, I noticed that Camila had unfollowed Andres on Instagram. Then she deleted all the photos with him. Then she deleted the comments she had made on his previous posts. She was erasing evidence, trying to rewrite the narrative. 2 days later, my phone rang at 10 at night. It was Camila. "Hello, Sebastian," she said in a soft, almost shy voice. "How have you been?" "Good," I replied in a neutral tone, giving her nothing. "I miss you. Can we see each other tomorrow? We need to talk about what?" "About us. About the break. I think I'm ready for us to get back together." There it was. The confirmation of everything I had suspected. Things hadn't worked out with Andres, and now she wanted to go back to the original plan, back to the security I represented, back to the man who paid half the apartment, who treated her well, who was willing to marry her. "Ready," I repeated, letting the word hang in the air. How convenient. What is that supposed to mean? It means I saw your photos with Andres, Camila. Everyone saw them. You were very public with your reconnection. Silence on the other end of the line. Then, when she finally spoke, her voice had that manipulative tone she had perfected over the years. "Sebastian, you're misunderstanding everything. Andres and I are just friends. We went out as friends. Nothing happened between us. Do you really expect me to believe that? It's the truth. And besides, we were on a break. Technically, I wasn't doing anything wrong." Those words were like a slap. Technically, as if betrayal needed to meet certain legal requirements to count. "So, what's the plan now?" I asked, keeping my voice calm, even though I was boiling inside. "We go back to where we were. We resume the wedding plans. We pretend the last 3 weeks never happened?" "Exactly," she replied, sounding relieved. "The break helped me realize that you're the one I want to be with, Sebastian. You're stable, reliable. You know me better than anyone. We're perfect together, stable, reliable. Not I love you desperately. Not I realized I can't live without you. Just stable and reliable. Like a bank, like an insurance policy. I need to think about it." I said finally. "Think about what, Sebastian? We've been through this. The break is over. Now we can go back to normal. Camila, you asked me for a break 3 weeks ago. You ignored me completely. You posted romantic photos with your ex while I waited like an idiot. And now that didn't work out, you expect me to just come running back?" Her tone changed immediately, becoming defensive. "Don't be dramatic. I told you I needed space, and I gave it to you. Now I'm ready to resume our relationship. Isn't that what you wanted? I'm not sure what I want anymore. Sebastian, don't make this more complicated than it is. I love you. I want to marry you. That's not enough. Give me a few days to think." I repeated, "If you really love me, you can give me that time." I hung up before she could reply, my heart pounding. For the first time in 3 weeks, I felt I was in control of the situation. For the next 2 days, Camila bombarded me with messages, each one more desperate than the last. "Sebastian, please, let's talk. I can't believe you're doing this to me after everything we've been through. This is how it ends. I love you. Please, don't throw everything away." Each message told me everything I needed to know. She wasn't sorry for what she had done. She was upset that her backup plan wasn't working as expected. The third day after our last conversation, I decided it was time to act. But before I did, I needed to confirm something. I called Daniela, Camila's best friend. "Hello, Sebastian," she answered in an uncomfortable voice. "How are you? I need you to tell me the truth, Daniela. Did you know Camila was going to go out with Andres during the break?" Silence on the other end of the line. That silence said it all. She told me she needed to explore her feelings. She finally admitted that she had to be sure before marrying you. I thought I was doing the right thing. And posting romantic photos with her ex while I waited was part of doing the right thing. Sebastian, don't drag me into this. It's between you two. You're already in it, Daniela. You were her accomplice. You helped her keep the lie. It wasn't a lie. They were on a break. She had the right to see other people, but I didn't have the right to know the truth. That's the difference. I hung up before she could reply. One more piece of the puzzle in place. That night Camila showed up at my apartment unannounced. I rang the bell insistently until I opened the door. "We need to talk," she said, pushing the door to enter before I could stop her. She was different, her hair perfectly styled, impeccable makeup, wearing the blue dress she knew I liked. She was trying to remind me why I had fallen in love with her. "Sebastian, this is ridiculous." She began, her voice oscillating between sweetness and frustration. "It's been 3 days. How much longer are you going to make me wait?" "I'm not making you wait, Camila. I'm taking the time I need to think. Something you took 3 weeks to do. That's different, and you know it." "Different? How?" "I needed that time to be sure about us. You're just being vengeful." I laughed humorlessly. "Vengeful, Camila? I'm trying to decide if I want to spend the rest of my life with someone who put me on pause while she tested if her ex still wanted her." Her eyes filled with tears. Tears I had seen 1,000 times before. Tears that always worked to get her way. "It wasn't like that. I'm telling you that Andres and I are just friends. Why can't you believe me?" "Because I saw the photos, Camila. I saw how he looked at you. I saw how you looked at him, and more importantly, I saw how you never looked at me that way during the last few months. You're being paranoid." "Paranoid? You posted photos with him practically every day. You went to the beach with him. You had dinner at the same restaurant where we had our first date. And I'm the paranoid one." Camila sank onto the sofa, tears streaming down her cheeks. "I made a mistake. Okay, I admit it. But everyone makes mistakes. You can't forgive me." "It's not just the mistake, Camila, it's the disrespect. It's the fact that you asked for a break and then publicly paraded around with your ex. It's that you never considered how I would feel seeing all that. It's that now you only want to come back because things with him didn't work out. That's not true." "No. So tell me, what happened with Andres? Why did you suddenly stop posting photos with him?" Her face turned pale. "That has nothing to do with us. It has everything to do with us. You came back to me because he rejected you. I'm your second choice, Camila. Your backup plan. You're not my second choice. You're who I want to be with. Andres, it was a mistake, a distraction. You're my future. But 3 weeks ago I wasn't. 3 weeks ago you needed space to think. You needed to explore your options. And now that that option didn't work out, here you are expecting us to just forget everything and move on." Camila wiped her tears, her expression changing from vulnerable to angry in seconds. "You know what, Sebastian? You're right. I went out with Andres during the break. I wanted to see if I still felt anything for him, and yes, I felt things, but in the end I realized he wasn't what I wanted. You're what I want, and I'm supposed to feel flattered by that. For being chosen after your first choice didn't work out. You're impossible." She burst out, standing up. "I'm telling you I chose you. What more do you want?" "I want you to leave," I said calmly. "What? I want you to leave? Now I need more time to think." "More time? How much more time do you need, Sebastian?" "I don't know. Maybe a week, maybe a month, maybe more." I saw the realization hit her. "You're doing the same thing to me that I did to you." "Not exactly. I'm not going to go out posting photos with other women. I just need space to clear my head." "Isn't that what you said when you asked for the break?" Camila grabbed her bag with trembling hands. "This is cruel, Sebastian." "No, Camila, cruel is what you did to me. This is justice." She left, slamming the door. I heard her heels clattering down the stairs, then the sound of her car driving away. I stood in the empty apartment, feeling strangely calm. The next morning, I received an unexpected call. It was Camila's mother, Patricia. "Sebastian, honey, can we talk?" I had always liked Patricia. She was a direct, practical woman, very different from her daughter. Sure, Patricia. What's up? Camila came home last night crying. She told me what happened. Her version of what happened. Probably, but I also saw her posts on Instagram during the break. I'm not stupid, Sebastian. I know what my daughter did. I was surprised by her honesty, and I want you to know that I don't blame you for being angry. What she did was selfish and immature. Camila has always had everything she wanted without having to work for it. Her father and I spoiled her too much. I appreciate you telling me that, Patricia, but I also want to ask you to think things through. Camila made a mistake. Yes, but the 5 years you were together also count. Don't throw all that away for one mistake. It wasn't just a mistake, Patricia. It was a decision, a series of decisions. Every photo she posted, every day she spent with him, was a conscious decision to hurt me. I heard a sigh on the other end. You're right. And maybe it's better that you end things now before you get married. I just wanted to make sure you were making this decision with a clear head, not out of revenge. It's not revenge, it's self-respect. Good, that's all I wanted to hear. Take care, Sebastian. I always liked you. When I hung up, I felt a sense of validation. Even Camila's mother saw what her daughter had done. For the next few days, Camila's messages became more desperate. She called me at all hours, showed up at my work, sent her friends to talk to me. One of them, Mariana, found me at a cafe near the office. Sebastian, I know Camila messed up. She began, sitting down uninvited. But I've known her since high school. She's devastated. She really loves you. If she loved me, she wouldn't have done what she did. People make mistakes, especially when they're scared. Scared of what? Of getting married, of committing forever. It's normal to have doubts before something so big. Doubts are normal, I agreed. But dating your ex while your fiancé waits is not the way to resolve them. Mariana sighed. Look, I'm not saying what she did was right, but Camila is willing to do whatever it takes to fix it. Give her a chance. I already gave her 5 years of chances. She chose to waste them. I stood up and left the cafe, leaving Mariana with her half-drunk coffee. I was tired of Camila's friends trying to defend her. I was tired of being the bad guy for not forgiving the betrayal. A week after Camila's visit to my apartment, I finally made my decision. It was time to end this once and for all, but before I did, there was something I needed to know. I called a mutual friend, Roberto, who knew both Camila and Andres since college. Roberto, I need you to tell me something with complete honesty. Sure, bro, whatever you need. Did Camila cheat on Andres with me, or did she cheat on me with Andres? Silence. Then a deep sigh. I didn't want to be the one to tell you this, but Camila and Andres never really broke up. Sebastian, even when she started dating you, they were still in touch. I always thought they'd get back together someday. I felt like I had been hit. Why did you never tell me anything? Because I didn't have concrete proof. It was just a feeling. And you seemed so happy with her that I didn't want to ruin it with my suspicions. So, all this time I was the other guy? I don't know for sure. But what I do know is that Andres always talked about Camila as if she were his, even when they were apart. And she never corrected him. I hung up feeling sick. 5 years. 5 years thinking I was building a future with someone who was maybe never really mine. That night, Camila showed up at my door again. This time she was calmer, more controlled. Sebastian, it's been 10 days. That's enough. We need to resolve this. I let her in, but I didn't invite her to sit. We stood in the living room looking at each other like two strangers. You're right, I said. Finally, we need to resolve it. I saw hope light up her eyes. So, can we try again? No. The hope vanished as quickly as it had appeared. What do you mean no? I mean it's over, Camila. This relationship is over. You can't be serious, Sebastian. We've been together for 5 years. We're engaged. We were engaged. You broke that engagement when you asked for a break to be with Andres. I told you nothing happened with Andres, and I'm telling you I don't care anymore if it happened or not. What matters is that you disrespected me in the worst possible way. You humiliated me publicly and then expected me to just accept it because you decided I was a better option than him. Tears started to stream down her face again. I made a mistake, a horrible mistake, but that doesn't mean we have to throw everything away. I'm not throwing anything away, Camila. You already did when you uploaded that first photo with Andres. Sebastian, please, I love you. I know I messed up, but we can get through this. We'll go to couples therapy. We'll do whatever it takes. I don't want to go to couples therapy. I want you to return the engagement ring and get your things out of the apartment. I saw the exact moment she realized I was serious. Her face went from pleading to anger in seconds. You know what? You're a coward, Sebastian. A coward who can't forgive a single mistake. It wasn't a single mistake. It was 3 weeks of conscious decisions. 3 weeks where you chose Andres over me every day. I chose you in the end. You chose me when he rejected you. That's not a choice, Camila. It's a resignation. She took off the engagement ring and threw it on the coffee table. The sound of metal hitting wood echoed in the silent apartment. I hope you're happy with your pride, she spat. Because you're going to end up alone. I'd rather be alone than with someone who sees me as their second choice. Camila left without another word, slamming the door hard behind her. I stood staring at the ring on the table, feeling a strange mixture of pain and relief. The next day, I began the process of canceling the wedding. I called the event venue, the suppliers, everyone who had been hired. Most were understanding. Some returned the deposit, others didn't. I didn't care. It was worth every penny lost. My mother cried when I told her I had broken up with Camila, but she also hugged me and told me she was proud of me for respecting myself. Diego, my brother, was more direct. I always knew that woman wasn't for you, bro. You deserve better. The days turned into weeks. Camila kept trying to contact me, but I blocked her number, her social media, everything. I needed a clean break to be able to heal. A month after our final breakup, I ran into Andres at a bar. He was drunk, and when he saw me, he stumbled over. You, he said, pointing his finger at me. You broke Camila's heart. I laughed humorlessly. I broke her heart. Interesting perspective. She was willing to forgive you and get back together. And you rejected her. Forgive me. Forgive me. For what exactly? For not understanding she needed space, for being so controlling. Now I understood how Camila had rewritten the story. In her version, I was the villain. Andres, do you know why Camila came back to me after being with you during the break? He blinked in confusion. Because she loves you, not because you rejected her. Because she saw your photo with that blonde and realized you weren't a viable option. I was her backup plan, and when I didn't work out as she expected, she became the victim of the story. I saw the doubt cross his face. That's not true. No, ask her. Ask her why she suddenly stopped posting photos with you. Ask her why she ran back to me. I walked away, leaving him with his thoughts. It wasn't my job to educate my ex-fiancé's ex, but I felt a small satisfaction knowing that at least I had planted the seed of doubt. 2 months after breaking up with Camila, I finally felt I could breathe again. The apartment no longer smelled of her perfume. I had put the photos of us together in a box in the closet. I started going out with my friends on Fridays again without feeling the need to check my phone every 5 minutes. One afternoon, while I was checking my email at the office, I found a message from Daniela. The subject line read, "I need to talk to you. It's important." I hesitated before opening it. Daniela had been Camila's accomplice in the whole break situation. I owed her nothing, but curiosity got the better of me. Sebastian, I know you probably don't want to hear from me and I get it, but there's something I think you should know about Camila and Andres. Can we get a coffee? I agreed to meet her at a neutral cafe, away from the places I used to frequent with Camila. Daniela arrived 10 minutes late with dark circles under her eyes and looking thinner than I remembered. Thanks for coming, she said, sitting down across from me without ordering a drink. I know I don't deserve it. What is this about, Daniela? She took a deep breath. Camila has completely stopped talking to me. She blocked my number, deleted me from her social media, everything, and I think you need to know the full truth about what happened during the break. My stomach tensed. I know enough. No, you don't. Camila and Andres didn't just go out during those 3 weeks. They had been planning that break for months. I leaned forward. What do you mean? Andres came back to town in January. He and Camila started talking again in secret. She confessed to me that she had never stopped loving him, that she got engaged to you because she thought it was the right thing to do, the stable thing. But when Andres reappeared, all those doubts came back. I felt nauseous. January. That meant Camila was already in touch with Andres when we were choosing the wedding invitations. Why are you telling me this now? Daniela bit her lip. Because after you broke up with her, Camila tried to get back with Andres, but he rejected her for good. He told her he had only wanted to have a little fun during the break, that he never had any intention of getting back into a serious relationship. I couldn't help but laugh bitterly. So she lost both of them. Yes. And instead of taking responsibility, she blamed everyone else. She blamed me for not convincing you to get back with her. She blamed Andres for playing with her feelings and, above all, she blamed you for being so inflexible. Of course she did, Sebastian. The reason I'm telling you all this is because Camila is planning something. She's been talking to some of your friends, telling them her version of the story. She says the break was your idea because you wanted to explore other options, and that when you regretted it, she forgave you, but then you betrayed her. I felt anger bubbling inside me. She's lying. I know. That's why I wanted to warn you. She has edited screenshots of conversations between you, photos taken out of context. She's building a whole narrative where you're the villain. Why would she do that? Because she can't accept that she lost. Because in her mind she has always been the victim, and because if she manages to convince enough people of her version, she can avoid facing what she really did. I sat in silence processing the information. Part of me wanted to ignore it all, move on with my life, and let Camila do whatever she wanted. But another part knew that if I didn't do something, her false version could affect my friendships. My reputation. Do you have proof of what you're telling me? I finally asked. Daniela took out her phone. I have screenshots of conversations between Camila and me, where she admits everything. I also have messages between her and Andres from January, before she asked for the break. Why did you keep them? Because I knew that someday I might need them. Camila has a pattern of rewriting history when things don't go her way. She's done it before with other boyfriends. I didn't want the same thing to happen to you without you having a way to defend yourself. She emailed me the screenshots. They were devastating. Messages where Camila told Daniela exactly how she planned to ask me for the break. Conversations with Andres where they discussed their plans for the weekend while I thought she was reflecting alone. Even a message where she laughed at how naive I was for respecting the space she had asked for. Why are you helping me now? I asked. You were her accomplice during all this. Daniela looked down because I realized too late the damage we were causing, and because when everything blew up, Camila didn't hesitate to sacrifice me to save herself. I realized that our friendship had always been a one-way street. I put my phone in my pocket. Thanks for this. Really, just promise me one thing, Daniela said, getting up to leave. Don't become a bitter person because of this, Camila. It's not worth it. That night, I reviewed all the screenshots Daniela had sent me. Each message was like another piece of the puzzle, confirming what I already suspected, but hurting nonetheless. The next day, several of my friends started asking me for my side of the story. Apparently, Camila had started her smear campaign. Instead of defending myself immediately, I decided to take a different approach. What exactly did Camila tell you? I asked Felipe, one of my closest friends, when he called, that you asked for a break to go out with someone else, that you later regretted it and begged her to come back. But when she forgave you and decided to give you another chance, you rejected her to stay with the other person. I laughed humorlessly. Interesting. And did you find any evidence that I was dating someone else during the break? No. But did you see any photos of me with another woman? Any messages? Something no. But Camila said you were very discreet. Felipe, did you see the photos Camila posted with Andres during the break? Silence. Exactly. Because we all saw them. She was not discreet at all. So, why would I be if I was supposedly doing the same thing? That makes sense, Felipe admitted. Listen, I'm not going to get into a he said she said war, but if Camila has evidence of what she's saying, let her show it. In the meantime, I have evidence of what really happened. For the next few weeks, Camila intensified her efforts. She posted vague messages on social media about overcoming and forgiving those who hurt you. Her friends shared memes about unfaithful men and strong women. It was all very performative. Then, one day Camila made a mistake. She posted a long message on Facebook telling her version of the story, naming me directly, accusing me of having cheated on her, of having asked for the break, of having destroyed our future plans. It was the moment I had been waiting for. I didn't respond on social media. Instead, I sent a private message to the people mentioned in her post, people who knew us both, sharing the screenshots Daniela had given me, Camila's messages planning the break, her conversations with Andres from January, her laughter about my naivety, everything. The reaction was immediate. Several people confronted Camila directly, others simply stopped interacting with her posts. Her carefully constructed narrative fell apart in a matter of hours. Daniela wrote to me that night. Camila just deleted her post. She's furious. She says you manipulated the screenshots. Let her prove it, I replied. But Camila couldn't prove anything because everything was real and she knew it. 2 days later, I received a message from an unknown number. It was Andres. We need to talk. Camila is saying things about me. We can meet too. I agreed more out of curiosity than anything else. We met at the same bar where I had seen him drunk weeks ago. Look, Andres began, looking considerably more sober this time. I know you don't like me and I get it, but Camila is saying that I manipulated her, that I promised her a serious relationship if she took a break with you. And that's not what happened. No, I made it clear from the beginning that I just wanted to have fun. Nothing serious. She was the one who kept insisting that we could try again. Why are you telling me this? Because she's ruining my reputation too. My current girlfriend found out about all this drama, and now she sees me as a homewrecker. I need this to stop. I couldn't help but laugh at the irony. Welcome to the club of Camila's victims. This isn't funny, bro. That woman is crazy. She's not crazy. I corrected her. She's manipulative. There's a difference. And now she's seeing that her manipulations no longer work. What am I going to do? What I did, stop giving her fuel, block her completely, and if she keeps lying about you, you have the right to defend yourself with the truth. Andres nodded slowly. You know, I'm sorry how all this turned out. Not for me, but for you. You didn't deserve to be treated like that. It was the first time Andres had shown anything resembling empathy. Thanks. But in the end, she did me a favor. Better to find out who she really was before marrying her. When I left the bar, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. It wasn't the closure I had imagined, but it was closure nonetheless. 3 months after my breakup with Camila, life started to feel normal again. Not the fake normal I had lived with her, but something genuine. I had resumed my routines, I was focused on work, and I had even started going out with my college friends I had neglected for years. One Friday night, Felipe dragged me to a networking event for engineers. I didn't feel like going, but he insisted so much that I finally gave in. The event was at a downtown hotel with a room full of professionals from the construction sector. I was at the bar ordering a beer when I heard a female voice behind me. Sebastian. I turned around and found a woman who looked vaguely familiar. Dark brown hair pulled back in a ponytail, bright green eyes, and a genuine smile that lit up her face. Do we know each other? I asked, searching my memory. She laughed. University, you had shorter hair. I was the nerd from the structures lab who always corrected your calculations, and then I remembered. Natalia, I can't believe it's you in the flesh, although now I'm more dedicated to sustainable design than to correcting calculation errors. We spent the next hour catching up. Natalia had worked on several international projects before returning to the city 6 months ago. She was a project director at a firm specializing in green constructions. She spoke with passion about her work, her eyes lighting up when she described the technical challenges she faced. What surprised me most was how easy it was to talk to her. There were no awkward silences. I didn't have to measure my words. I didn't feel like I was being judged. It was refreshing. And you? She finally asked. Are you still with that construction company you mentioned? Yes, I've been there for almost 8 years. It's stable, good work environment. And your personal life? Married, engaged, complicated? The question caught me off guard. Recently single, very recently. Natalia nodded with understanding. I'm sorry, difficult breakups are the worst, more like a necessary breakup. And you, single by choice. The last few years I was so focused on my career that relationships took a back seat. We exchanged numbers before the event ended. The next day, Natalia wrote to me inviting me to a sustainable architecture exhibition. I accepted without much thought. The exhibition was fascinating. Natalia knew several of the architects presented and introduced me with a contagious enthusiasm. I realized I was genuinely enjoying her company, something I hadn't felt in a long time. For the next few weeks, Natalia and I started seeing each other regularly. Coffee after work, lunches on weekends, visits to construction sites that interested her professionally. There was no pressure, no expectations, just two friends enjoying each other's company. One Saturday afternoon, as we were walking through a park after lunch, Natalia asked me directly, "Do you want to talk about your ex?" Not particularly. Can I ask you something then? Was it infidelity? I hesitated before answering. Technically no, but emotionally, absolutely yes. I told her a summarized version of what had happened with Camila. The break, the photos with Andres, her attempt to come back when things didn't work out. Natalia listened without interrupting. It sounds like you dodged a bullet, she said finally. You think so? Definitely. Someone who sees you as a backup plan is never going to value you as you deserve. It was exactly what I needed to hear. In the meantime, through mutual acquaintances, information about Camila kept coming in. She had left her job at the advertising agency where she worked. According to rumors, she had had a fight with her boss. After arriving late repeatedly and using work hours to handle her personal drama, I also found out that she had tried to get back with Andres again only to be rejected more forcefully. This time Andres had apparently told her in front of his friends that he wanted nothing to do with someone so toxic. Daniela wrote to me occasionally with updates. Camila had tried to reconnect with her several times, but Daniela kept her distance. She's different, Daniela wrote to me one day, more bitter. She constantly talks about how unfair life is, about how everyone betrayed her. Honestly, it's a bit pitiful. I didn't feel pity, I felt indifference. Camila had made her choices, and now she was living with the consequences. For months after breaking up with Camila, Natalia and I were having dinner at an Italian restaurant when she dropped her fork and looked at me directly. Sebastian, what we're doing has a name. What do you mean? We see each other almost every day. We talk constantly. I tell you things I don't tell anyone else, and I'm pretty sure you feel the same. She was right. At some point, during those months, Natalia had become more than just a friend. She was the first person I thought of when I woke up, the last one I spoke to before I went to sleep. I didn't want to pressure you, I admitted. I knew you had just come out of something complicated. It's been 4 months, and honestly I don't care about your past. I care if there's a future. What kind of future? Natalia smiled. One where we don't have to pretend we're just friends. That night I officially asked her to be my girlfriend. She accepted without hesitation. The relationship with Natalia was completely different from what I had had with Camila. There were no games, no manipulation, no drama. She was honest, direct, and genuinely interested in my well-being, as much as in her own. My friends noticed the change immediately. Felipe commented that he hadn't seen me so relaxed in years. My mother, when I finally introduced her to Natalia 2 months later, adored her instantly. "This is a good woman," my mother whispered to me when Natalia was in the bathroom. Nothing like the previous one. One day, while Natalia and I were having lunch at a cafe near my office, the inevitable happened. Camila entered the place. She saw us immediately. Her face went through several emotions in seconds. Surprise, pain, and finally something that looked like resentment. She stood frozen at the entrance for a moment before turning around and leaving. Natalia, who had followed my gaze, asked, "Was that her?" "Yes, she looks sad." "She probably is. How do you feel seeing her?" I thought about it for a moment. Nothing, literally nothing. And it was true. Seeing Camila hadn't caused me any pain, or anger, or satisfaction, just a deep indifference. That night Camila sent me a message from a new number I didn't have blocked. "I saw you today with her. I hope you're happy." I didn't reply. There was nothing to say. Natalia and I continued to build our relationship on a solid foundation, honest communication, mutual respect, and a genuine interest in each other's growth. It wasn't perfect. We had our differences and occasional arguments. But the difference was that we faced them together instead of using them as weapons. 6 months after starting our relationship, Natalia received an offer to lead a major project in another city. It was an incredible opportunity for her career, but it would mean being apart for at least a year. "What do you think?" she asked, showing me the project details. "I think it's an incredible opportunity you can't pass up, but we'd be apart for a long time. Distance relationships work when both people are committed. And I am." Her eyes filled with tears. "Are you sure?" "Completely." "Go. Do that amazing project, and when you come back I'll be here." Natalia accepted the project. The following months were challenging, with late-night video calls and occasional visits when our schedules allowed. But it worked because we both wanted it to work. During one of those months apart, I received unexpected news. Camila's father called me. "Sebastian, it's Rodolfo. Do you have a moment?" "Sure, Mr. Rodolfo. What's up?" "I wanted to apologize personally for what Camila did to you. Patricia and I knew about Andres long before she asked you for the break. We should have warned you." I remained silent, processing the information. "Camila is in therapy now," he continued. "She's finally facing her problems, but I wanted you to know that what she did had nothing to do with you. You've always been a good man." "I appreciate the call, Mr. Rodolfo. I really do. I hope you're well, son. You deserve to be happy." When I hung up, I realized that call represented a closure I didn't even know I needed. It wasn't about forgiving Camila or understanding her reasons. It was about confirming that I had made the right decision. Natalia returned from her project 10 months later, tanned and radiant from her professional success. The project had exceeded all expectations, and she already had several new offers. The night she returned, we had dinner at my apartment. As I was setting the table, she hugged me from behind. "I missed you so much," she whispered. "Me too, but we did it." "Yes, we did." You know what I realized while I was there? That this is the real thing. This is what a relationship is supposed to be. Mutual support, trust, respect. She was right. And finally, after everything that had happened with Camila, I had found exactly that. A year and a half after breaking up with Camila, my life was unrecognizable in the best possible way. Natalia and I had found our perfect rhythm. She continued to take on challenging projects. Some required short trips, but we always came back to each other. One Saturday afternoon, as Natalia and I were making dinner together in my apartment, I received a message from Daniela. I hadn't heard from her in months. "Sebastian, I know we haven't talked in a long time, but I needed to tell you something. Camila is getting married." I stopped with the knife in my hand, processing the information. I felt Natalia's gaze on me. "Is everything okay?" she asked. "Camila is getting married," I said out loud, testing how the words felt. Natalia stopped what she was doing. "And how do you feel about that?" I thought about it honestly, indifferent. "I hope she's happy, I guess." "Do you know with whom?" I read the rest of Daniela's message. "With someone she met in therapy, a guy named German. They've been together for 6 months. Natalia nodded. 6 months and already engaged. Interesting. Very Camila, I replied, putting my phone away. She always needed external validation. I didn't think about it again until 2 weeks later, when I received a wedding invitation in the mail. Camila and German. The date was set for 3 months later. Natalia found the invitation on the living room table. "Are you going?" "I don't know. Should I?" "That's a question only you can answer." "Do you have any lingering feelings for her?" "No, none. So why go?" She was right. There was no reason to attend. I put the invitation in a drawer and forgot about it. 2 months later, as Natalia and I were having dinner at our favorite Italian restaurant, she put down her wine glass and looked at me with an intensity one hadn't seen before. "I need to ask you something," she began. "Go ahead. Have you ever thought about getting married again?" The question caught me off guard, but not in a bad way. "With the right person?" "Yes. And do you think I could be that person?" I took her hand across the table. "Natalia, you are absolutely that person. With you everything is different. It's real, it's honest. So, why haven't you proposed to me?" She interrupted me with a smile. I laughed. "Are you stealing my moment? Someone has to take the initiative here." That night, as we were walking back to my apartment under the stars, I knelt down in the middle of the park where we had had our first serious conversation months ago. "Natalia, I don't have a ring prepared because I'm an idiot who didn't see this coming, but I do have something much more important. I have the absolute certainty that I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Will you marry me?" She knelt down in front of me, tears streaming down her face. "Yes, 1,000 times yes." We kissed right there in the middle of the park without caring about the looks of passers-by. The next day, we went together to buy the ring. Natalia chose something simple and elegant, very her style. She didn't need ostentation to know she was loved. When we told my family, my mother cried with happiness. Diego hugged Natalia and whispered in my ear, "This is the one, bro." We decided to get married 6 months later. We didn't want a huge wedding, just close family and true friends in an intimate ceremony. During the planning, Camila got married to German. I knew because several mutual acquaintances posted photos of the wedding on social media. She looked happy in the pictures. I waited to feel something, anything, but there was only that void of indifference. "Did you see her?" Natalia asked that night without needing to specify who she was talking about. "Yes. And nothing. She's part of my past. You are my present and my future." She smiled and kissed me. That's the right answer. 3 weeks before our wedding, I received an unexpected call. It was Patricia, Camila's mother. "Sebastian, I know you probably don't want to talk to me, but I needed to call you." "Hello, Patricia. Is everything okay?" "Yes. Rodolfo and I found out that you're getting married. We wanted to congratulate you." "Thanks. I appreciate it. We also wanted you to know something. Camila has been in intensive therapy for a year. She's working on her problems, facing things she avoided for a long time. I'm glad to hear that. Her marriage to German was impulsive. I think she's realizing that now, but that's not the reason for my call." I waited in silence. I wanted to apologize. As a mother, I should have seen what Camila was doing to you. I should have intervened. Instead, I enabled her, and I failed you too. Her words surprised me. Patricia, I appreciate you telling me this. I really do. You deserve to be happy, Sebastian. And from what I've heard, Natalia is a wonderful woman. Rodolfo, and I wish you the best. When I hung up, I told Natalia about the conversation. That was unexpectedly mature of her. She commented, yes, but it doesn't change anything. The past is the past. Exactly. And our future begins in 3 weeks. The day of our wedding dawned perfect. Clear sky, ideal temperature, everything seemed to align. The ceremony was in a botanical garden, small and intimate as we had planned. When Natalia appeared at the end of the aisle, I felt my heart stop for the right reasons. She looked absolutely radiant in a simple white lace dress, her hair pinned up with natural flowers. During our vows, I spoke from the heart. Natalia, you taught me that real love doesn't have to hurt, that honesty is not optional, but fundamental, that being with the right person feels like coming home. I promise to cherish you every day, to support your dreams, and to build with you a life based on mutual respect and genuine love. She cried as she said her own vows. Sebastian, you taught me that it's possible to trust again after being hurt, that vulnerability is strength, not weakness, that true love chooses you every day, not just when it's convenient. I promise to be your partner, your support, your best friend today and all the days to come. When we were declared husband and wife, the kiss we shared sealed not only our marriage, but the definitive closure of my past with Camila. The reception was joyful and full of genuine love. I danced with my mother, toasted with Diego, listened to emotional speeches from friends who really knew and valued me. At one point in the evening, Felipe approached with a beer. Bro, you look happier than I've seen you in years. I am. You know, when you broke up with Camila, I thought it would take you years to recover, but you found something better. Almost immediately. It wasn't immediate. I needed time to heal first. Natalia came when I was already whole, not to fill a void, but to complement what I already was. Felipe nodded thoughtfully. That's the difference, right? Camila was the center of your world. Natalia is your partner in the world you're building. He was right. With Camila, I had molded my life around her needs and whims. With Natalia, we built something new together where we both had space to grow. That night, as Natalia and I danced our first song as a married couple, she whispered in my ear, "What are you thinking about? How lucky I am." We're both lucky. And as I spun her around under the hanging lights of the garden, surrounded by people who genuinely loved us, I realized something fundamental. Camila, asking for that break, hadn't been the end of my love story. It had been the beginning of the real one. 2 months after the wedding, as I was checking my email, I found a message from Daniela. I thought you'd want to know. Camila is divorcing German. The marriage lasted 4 months. Apparently, she repeated the same patterns. He left her when he found out she was still in touch with Andres. I read the message without any particular emotion. I showed it to Natalia. Any feelings? She asked. Just confirmation that I made the right decision 2 years ago. Are you going to reply to Daniela? No. That part of my life is closed. I put my phone away and went back to what I was doing, planning our first anniversary with Natalia, because there was the real lesson Camila had taught me without meaning to. Some people come into your life to show you exactly what you don't want, and sometimes that's the most valuable gift they can give you. Camila had chosen the break. She had chosen Andres. She had chosen her toxic patterns over and over again, and I had chosen to respect myself enough to walk away. That choice had led me to Natalia, to a life where love was not a negotiation, but a certainty, where trust was the foundation, not a luxury, where being together a daily decision we both made with joy. The break Camila asked for was the best gift she never knew she was giving me. The freedom to find something real. 5 years after the break that changed my life, I find myself sitting on the porch of our new house. Natalia and I bought it a year ago, a place with a garden where we can finally have that dog we always wanted. His name is Bruno, and he's now sleeping at my feet as the sun sets. Natalia is inside talking on the phone with her team about the new project she just won. It's the biggest of her career. She looks at me through the window and winks. I smile back at her. My phone vibrates. It's a message from my mother with photos of my niece's birthday. Diego had a baby girl 2 years ago, and Natalia and I are the godparents. In the photos, everyone looks happy, genuinely happy. Sometimes I think about what my life would have been like if I had taken Camila back, if I had ignored the signs and married her just because we had already invested 5 years. I would probably be in an unhappy marriage, wondering if it would ever be my turn to be the first choice. But that's not how things turned out. 6 months ago, I ran into Camila at the supermarket. It was inevitable in a city of this size. She was alone pushing a cart with basic products. She looked tired, not bad, just tired in a way I recognized from our last months together. We greeted each other with awkward politeness. She asked how I was. I asked her the same. She said she was fine working at a small marketing company. She didn't mention German or Andres. I didn't ask. I told her briefly about Natalia, about our house. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. She told me she was happy for me. I think in a way it was true. When we said goodbye, I felt a deep peace. There was no resentment, no pain, just the quiet acceptance that we had been the wrong people at the wrong time. Natalia came out onto the porch and sat next to me, resting her head on my shoulder. "What are you thinking about?" she asked. "How different everything is now. Different good or different weird?" "Different, perfect." She smiled. Bruno woke up and wagged his tail as if he also agreed. I look at my wife, at our house, at the life we built together on honest foundations, and I realize something. Camila didn't break me, she freed me. Sometimes, when someone asks you for a break, the best thing you can do is make it permanent, not out of revenge, but out of self-respect. And in my case, that self-respect led me exactly where I needed to be. Have you ever had to choose between your self-respect and a relationship? Did you have the courage to walk away when someone treated you as a second option? I'd love to read your experiences in the comments. If this story resonated, please share it with someone who might need to hear it, and remember, you deserve to be someone's first choice, not their backup plan. Don't forget to leave your like and subscribe for more stories. Thanks for joining me until here.